I'm going to talk about how to harness that online activity to attract patients to your medical practice and how to stand out among all the other healthcare providers and organizations online that are vying for their attention. Now, namely, that means emphasizing their needs over simply highlighting your skills. So, in order to do that, it's critical to understand what fertility patients are looking for online, and that's health information first, healthcare providers second. So, patients look for information about health conditions, treatment options, and so on before looking for a doctor. Now, how do we know that? At Vanguard, we use research tools like Google Keyword Planner to see how frequently patients search online for certain terms and topics. For example, the term fertility, people are searching for that term 74,000 times a month on average in the US. The term conception, 60,000 times. Infertility, 49,000 times on average per month. Now let's compare that to how much they search for terms about healthcare providers. For example, fertility clinic is searched 27,000 times per month. IVF doctor, a mere 480 times per month. Here's another example for specific infertility-related conditions for which we see a very high number of searches. Example, the term PCOS is searched 450,000 times on average on Google per month. Miscarriage, 165,000 times. Fallopian tubes, 40,000 times. So yes, we do see that patients search for information about their health first and provider second. And in fact, using this kind of search data, we see the takeaway is that patients look for health info more than 10 times as often as healthcare providers. And we find what patients actually read on a fertility practice's website matches those search trends, with top read pages being patient-friendly blogs, pages about health conditions or treatments, and other information about how to get pregnant. What this means for you as a healthcare provider is that search services like Google are one of the best ways to bring in new patients. And we've seen with practices that we work with is that Google can bring in as many as 3 out of 4 new patients. And that's really through the quality of information, not just quantity. Now, when I say quality of information on your website, I'm talking about SEO, or search engine optimization. You'll often hear about SEO from website managers and marketers, and it's often mysticized, but it's really not some sort of website or tech magic. It's really about that quality information that we've been talking about, meaning you provide information on your website that patients are already looking for. Here's an example health page discussing the details of infertility in women. This kind of content is a great way to show up in Google and bring in patients looking for this type of information. You can see in this example, too, that the website also has pages on topics like endometriosis, diminished ovarian reserve, and PCOS. You'll want similar health pages on treatment options, too, such as, of course, IVF, but even pages on recommended treatment approaches, for example, single embryo transfer. In these informative pages, you'll also want to use patient-friendly language. Here's some examples of terms that could be simplified for your patients. Reproductive endocrinologist, fertility doctor. Oocyte, you can use egg. Zona pellucida of the embryo could be outer shell of the embryo. Microsurgical tubal reanastomosis, tubal sterilization reversal, or reversing getting your tubes tied. Even something simple like anovulation could further be simplified, such as not ovulating. Now, in general, you want to focus your online internet communication on patient-first language, and this extends to messaging and other information you have on your website. Even if it's about your practice, it should really be about the patient. Let's look at some examples. Your baby, your way. This message emphasizes the patient benefit of treatment at this practice. Our family devoted to yours speaks to and evokes that emotional side of infertility and the patient's goal of having a family. Success made simple. Talking about IVF success here, but in a very appealing way to patients who might be daunted by the fertility process. So again, you want to lead with the patient first, not the practice first. Here's some examples of common messaging on fertility websites. This practice, for example, leads with "Why us?" and "Top doctors." This is important to the patient, but shifts the focus away from the patient and what they want to the practice or who they are. In this next example, the practice emphasizes expertise or the time in business. Again, great details, but patients often start with the assumption their doctors will have expertise. But what other benefits can the patient expect from this practice? Another great way to speak to a patient's needs is to make a personal connection, positioning a physician not just as the expert on paper, but also showing the physician is a real human that will care about their patients. It's a great way to meet patients on their level. For example, on this doctor's page, he talks about his personal approach to treatment and gives patients a way to connect with him through online reviews. Another doctor includes a testimonial from one of her patients to demonstrate her patient care. These doctors use video and social media to share their personal stories for why they became doctors and what drew them to helping infertility patients. This doctor shows his personal side by showing a very casual video about dealing with the coronavirus pandemic while getting exercise outside. Now, this video isn't even about infertility specifically, but his fertility patients really appreciated seeing his personal side here. Finally, another critical step for reaching patients on the internet is joining in those online conversations that patients are already having. This term, find us online, isn't just your website. You need to be present where the patients are present. Social media is a major way to connect with patients on the internet. Now, that's defined as an interactive online platform or online community where patients can share information, photos, videos, and ideas, and interact with similar information from other people, groups, and businesses. Some examples of social media platforms include Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Skyrock. Review websites are another great way to reach and engage patients too. This includes online sites where patients can rate and provide comments about their doctors. And it's important that medical practices and providers monitor these reviews and respond both to the positive and the negative feedback. So to recap, how to stand out online. You want to have a presence on multiple channels, such as a website, social media, and online reviews. You want to have patient-focused language and content, especially that health information that patients are searching for. You want to get personal and make sure you join the conversation.